Hello and welcome to another Every Tuesday tutorial. In this week's tutorial, we're going to be using the Procreate app on an iPad Pro using an Apple Pencil to create some hand lettering that uses multiple textures. So I've got a gold texture and I've got a watercolor texture. Both of these textures are from Procreate texture kits that I've created, and I'll leave a link on screen and in the video description for those. So if you're not on an iPad Pro, if you're not using an Apple Pencil, and if you don't have the Procreate app, don't expect the same results as what I'm going to be showing you right here. The iPad Pro is the only iPad that will allow you to have the pressure sensitivities. There are different styluses that work with the iPad Pro, but the Apple Pencil is the most well-known. It's my favorite, so that's what I'm going to be using for this tutorial. This is a 12.9-inch iPad Pro. It's the 256 gig version. I'm extremely satisfied with it, and I would recommend it to anyone. Okay, so we're just going to hop right in, and we're going to get started. So I'm going to create a new document. I'm just going to make it my screen size, and when this pops open, I'm going to just zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to first import my foil texture. So I'm going to go grab that. All right, and I'm going to make it nice and big so it fills my entire workspace. And then I'm going to come over into my layers. I'm going to create a new layer, and I need to color this black. So I'm going to come over where my color is. I'm going to double tap down here where the black is, and that'll give me true black. I'm going to come back to my layers, tap on my layer, and choose fill. So my entire layer is filled now, and I've got my foil underneath. Now I need a layer to put my lettering on, so I'm going to create a new layer. For this one, it doesn't really matter what color it is, but so I can see it really well on black, I'm going to choose white right here. So I'm just going to come over where the white is and double tap, and that'll give me true white. And I'm going to select my brush pen. So my brush pen has been slightly altered from the original. The main thing that I've changed is I've applied some opacity to it. But other than that, everything else is pretty much the same. I did remove the taper on the end of this. So there's no taper, but my opacity and size is maxed out. So that is my brush pen. So now I'm just going to write out my Merry Everything lettering. Okay, so this feels just a little bit large, so I'm going to shrink it down just by hitting my little cursor right here, and then I can scale this down just slightly. Okay, so that's looking good, and now I just need to write Merry up here. And if you're looking to learn more about integrating flourishes with your lettering, I just created a new course called Fantastic Flourishes, which there's more details over on my blog about that, and I'll leave a link in the video description as well. Okay, so we've got our lettering all set right here, and now we're gonna first apply our gold elements. So I'm gonna come back into my layers, I'm gonna come to my black layer, and what we're essentially going to do is we're gonna delete away parts of the black layer, and once we delete those parts away, it's going to begin revealing the gold texture that we have underneath. So I'm gonna grab my eraser, and once again, I'm gonna grab my brush pen under my inking category, and I'm going to make it slightly smaller since we're putting in some details right here, and I'm just going to draw some holly leaves. So just to add a little bit more decoration to this, I'm going to come back to my eraser, I'm going to go to my airbrush category and choose hard brush, and then I'm just going to reduce the size of my brush over here so it's pretty tiny. And I'm just going to use my finger for this one and just tap in different places to apply those little bits of maybe gold snow or holly berries. Okay, and then I'm just going to make this just slightly smaller and put a few more in here. Oops. If you ever need to undo, just a 2-finger tap will undo. Okay, so now it's time to integrate our watercolor texture. So what we need to do is put it on a brand new layer. So I'm going to tap on my lettering since it's the topmost layer. Then I'm going to create a new layer so it's at the very top. I'm going to import my watercolor texture. Make sure it fills up my entire artboard. Okay, so now this is the part where you have to follow this exactly or it won't work out right. So make sure you follow these steps exactly. The first thing you're going to do is come to your lettering layer. You're going to tap on it and choose select. So now all of your lettering is selected. Then you're going to tap on your texture layer, which is right above it. You have to make sure that your texture is selected here. And then where you see this, the blue icon that's selected right here, you're just going to hold it. And when you hold it, you're going to get a menu down here. And you're going to tap these two little lines that are right above one another. And this is going to create a new layer from your selection based on the layer that's currently selected. So I'm just going to hit this little icon. And then I'm going to come back to my layers, and you can see I've got a brand new layer here now. And if I turn off my watercolor texture and if I turn off my white lettering, now I have lettering that is only the watercolor texture and nothing else. So now I can zoom out. And I've got two different textures that are working together very nicely. I didn't have to mess with any blend modes whatsoever. And I created a layer, a brand new layer based off of a selection of lettering that I had previously created. So that's a nice way to create a very clean document with multiple textures involved. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe. I release a new design tutorial every single Tuesday. And don't forget to head on over to my blog, every-tuesday.com, for even more design tutorials and a bunch of design freebies. And once again, a link to the texture kits where you can grab the foil texture and the watercolor texture for your own use is available on screen and in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.